We interrupt this program for a special news bulletin.
Throws toward the corner of the end zone. It is intercepted! Intercepted! The Ducks have the ball!
To the end zone! Oregon! Mariota dives! Touchdown! They hand it off straight out! C.J. Burdell wins the game for Oregon!
Inside the 10! A hat-trick, a touchdown from Justin Herbert! Howard's going to run for it. Time runs out, and that'll do it! Welcome to the Big Ten, Oregon! They storm the field at Autzen!
All right, Duck fans, here we go. Welcome to another episode of the Ducks Rising podcast, sponsored by Backer and Water Ave Coffee. My name's Zach Neal, my co-host Travis Workley. Travis, what's up, man? How we doing?
Good, good. Did you notice I wore black for my Husky funeral today?
Your Husky funeral, that's nice. I went with the retro Oregon hoodie, so I think we're both feeling good this morning. That was a fun game, man.
It was. We made it a little more interesting than I liked at certain times, but the swings of emotion were certainly there. But always a good day to beat the Huskies, and man, hell of a season.
Absolutely, yeah. We're gonna give some instant reactions to that 26-14 win over Washington on Saturday. Go through the game quarter by quarter, and then talk about, at the end, some college football playoff developments, seeding, just ramifications now that we're done with the regular season. To start, though, I feel like you and I are kind of just on a bit of a hot streak right now. Like, we had a really good feeling for how that USC game was going to go. It played out pretty much exactly how we thought it was. I think we felt pretty good about where this Washington game was going to go. My score prediction was 28-13. It was just a few points off. Like, I think that we had a pretty good feeling for how this game was going to play out, and I think it played out that way. So, I don't know. I think that sometimes we don't give ourselves a pat on the back when we do it. Like, when we're actually right about things, we give good preview analysis. It's like, all right, I think we've been pretty good for the past few weeks, which does not always happen.
Yeah, I mean, these last two game plans have felt kind of, not only that we've nailed it, but it's just felt almost like simple in a way. I think obviously our staff had a good feel for how to slow down these teams a little bit and what we could do offensively. And I think the defensive part of the game plan certainly went just about as I expected. I think, I think watching the game live, I was surprised that we didn't have more success running the ball, but then looking through it through the lens of like what Washington was trying to do, I think it made a little bit more sense, and I think their plan was smart ultimately, given who were down at receiver. But yeah, I mean, I think from a defensive perspective, the last couple of weeks have gone just about as we would have expected. I think the personnel and what we did throughout the year in terms of scheme ended up fitting really well when you looked at these last two opponents.
Yeah, I have not done my rewatch yet. I got home late last night, drove all the way home to Eugene last night, so I plan to rewatch this afternoon. But I was impressed with Washington early on and just their ability to stop the run, because not many people have been able to do that to us yet. Obviously, it makes sense. They loaded the box a lot and just said, hey, beat us with your receivers. And Oregon did. And that's kind of like what USC tried to do last week. They just were not as good at it as Washington was, but I think Washington did make this game tough on Oregon, tougher than I expected it to be, despite the final score.
Yeah, and I think they had some success stopping the run. I think that certainly caused us to adjust in the game. I think when you're down receivers like that, the plan ultimately makes sense. And obviously we hit a couple balls down the field. We were also really close on a couple others that probably put the game away. But, I mean, you get to 26, you felt good in this game one way or the other, whether it was running or passing the game. But, man, we had plenty of opportunities to be up above 30 and up into the 30s. So I think as much credit you want to give them for stopping the run, like, it's kind of the second straight game that we had some self-inflicted wounds that kind of reminded me of the Penn State game in a way that prevented us from, I mean, there's plenty of scenarios where that's a 28-point win. If we could just close some drives, I feel like we were pretty good between, the 20s. I just felt like we kind of bogged down a couple times around the 40, around midfield when we had opportunities to really put the game away.
Yeah, I mean, only 106 rushing yards for Oregon. That's just like, that feels crazy. And that feels about right. It's not like they had a ton of success and they got bogged down with a lot of sacks. It's just, credit to Washington there. Let's go through the drive chart and just quarter by quarter and kind of break this thing down. I felt really good on that first drive. You get the Sear sack. You just already get DeMond kind of running for his life back there, and you force a 3 and out on the first drive. It's like, yes, that's why you defer to the second half. You let your defense just be out there and just show that you're going to dominate this game. I loved it early on, and then you get the ball and you go down and you just get a field goal, but it's, in these rivalry games, tough games, like points matter, and just any points I'm happy to go away with on the first drive.
Yeah, I mean, those first three, I think it was, offensive drives, I mean, you had a lot of success for the most part, but there were just little things. I mean, that first drive, you obviously hit the long one to McClellan down the left sideline, but then we had another shot to Benson that, I mean, Malik's been awesome, and I know we were planning to heap a bunch of praise on him, but it was a dot by Dante. Kind of through his hands. Dante put it right in the spot you want to, and that's you're in a first and goal situation. If you can hit that. Dante kind of had one of his worst plays of the night, and an otherwise great night on that 3rd and 5 on the first drive. He threw the ball tightly coverage. It probably could have been intercepted, but yeah, like you said, I mean, Sappington nails anytime you can in a game like that defer, stop, points, you're feeling good right off the bat.
Absolutely. And then, punt, it goes back and forth a little bit, and then you get the Jaden Kennedy interception right on the goal line in the end zone. He's another guy that we just I think we do it every week kind of now. We're just heap a ton of praise on him. It doesn't need to stop. He's been so good. Such an unheralded transfer. Same with Malik, where fans, when he came in, were kind of all right, who is this depth piece? Not a big deal. Jaden Kennedy is, one of the MVPs of this defense. There's several guys you can give that to. He's just been so good, and for him to get up and get that ball and just kind of change that momentum right away, that was really impressive.
I think Jeff will break down that play, but having watched the first quarter just myself, I mean, it was not only a hell of an interception, but it was just a hell of a play kind of coming off your guy. I mean, Washington got the matchup they wanted. They had Mixon single covered against Boston going down the sideline, but Kennedy kind of rotated off his guy, just an incredible read. I know Dan's talked all year about just the instincts Kennedy has. I mean, we haven't had a slot that could make that play or kind of diagnose that play, I don't think, in the last couple of years. But to have the athleticism to go up and make the play in addition to making the read, I mean, that's a game changer right there. I mean, Washington's going in, they're inside the 20. I mean, at worst, that's 3-3 at that point, maybe 7-3 if they can punch it in. And otherwise, I mean, that was a hell of a play.
Mm-hmm. And then you get into the second quarter, Ducks long drive, 14 plays, 80 yards, and then you get Dante Moore rushing it in. I love to see how much they ran him in this game. I know I'm not the only person to say this, but it felt like, Justin Herbert in the Rose Bowl, where it's kind of end of the season, all right, let's let him use his legs, where, you of course, it's not you're trying to get him hurt, but you're less worried about, the longevity of the season. It's all right, if we're going to do it, now's the time. So he kept it. I mean, Dan said after the game, that was part of the plan, that we wanted him to rush more, but part of it is just what we were seeing from Washington's defense and what Dante saw on the field in some of those reads. So I thought he had a really good game, and especially on the ground. I know his yardage is skewed by a couple of sacks, but he had 7 rush attempts. That's, I think, probably a season high. I don't know. I would need to look back, but it's got to be up there.
Yeah, I mean, it was just an interesting game because you get near the end of the first quarter, and it felt kind of similar to Penn State or Iowa, where you're gosh, we feel like we're dominating. We're constantly in plus territory. We're constantly around midfield. We're dominating on defense. 3-0 game, like we said, Washington going in possibly to take the lead, even though we feel like we've just haven't been able to quite convert. We've had 3 drives. I think what we realized on that 80-yard drive was, hey, they're putting a ton of bodies in the box. If we don't use Dante as a runner, the numbers game just isn't going to work out to run the ball at all. So I think bringing him into the run game, adding an extra body, that opened up a little bit of stuff. But I think it was also just us realizing, hey, we're going to have to win this game through the air a little bit and loosen them up. Because, I mean, I started counting at that point because I was man, it feels like we're not able to have a lot of success. They were 1 high safety, 7 minimum in the box. And oftentimes 8 to 9 guys down there.
Yeah, and they did well. I like their defensive game plan from Walters. He is a very good coordinator. I would love for him to get a head coaching job somewhere else soon, just because I think that he has the chance to be a defensive coordinator there that has a lot of success. So Oregon gets the ball back, they go down after the punt, another 3 and out from this defense, get a field goal, the second one for Sappington. At this point, it's okay, Sappington's 2 for 2 in Husky Stadium, a really tough place to kick. Starting to feel a little good, a little bit better, and then because you're up 13-0 at that point. And then Washington has that kind of killer drive, the 12 plays, 75 yards right before the half. Hindsight, it's not as big of a deal as it was at the time, but Dan declining the 10-second runoff I know you nitpick all of these little things. I would love to ask him, like, it wasn't the time to ask him after the game because they had just won. They're celebrating, like, why'd you do this little thing in the second quarter? But I would love to get, like, his thinking on why he declined that. Because if he hadn't declined it, there was a 10-second runoff. They probably don't have time to score. They're kicking a field goal. In the end, it does not matter.
Yeah, I think they probably manage things a little bit differently if there's less time. I don't know. It's easy to look back on it. I think I'm right with you. I would love to hear Dan's explanation on that, but he's always going to be aggressive, I think, in those end-to-half situations. Yeah, I mean, it's frustrating because you have your 10-0, you get another stop, you're going down, I think, down once again inside the 30, I know. Not an easy throw, but Sadiq's open to go up 17-0 on that ball.
Yeah.
He kind of, I
just
think,
let him too much.
Yeah, so, I mean, that's the thing we struggled with these last couple weeks. It's like, if we can just get up 3 scores, can we get to 17? Can we get to 17? Yeah. Once again, we have to settle and we're at 13. It's like, okay, if we can get a stop here, we're feeling good. Like, we just got to be up 2 scores coming at half with the ball. And we had so many opportunities that drive. I mean, that drive starts with I don't know, it's probably PI, but the ball is just, it was the USC play of just like, let's just throw an absolute heave up that lands out of bounds. Yep. Finney has a chance on that drive with the ball in his hands to end that drive. Multiple third down opportunities. I mean, even the touchdown, Damon's about to get absolutely cooked. And if our hands are just up, the ball's probably batted down.
Hats off to Damon on that throw. Like, that was an impressive play. I mean, I don't think he even had time to do anything but stand in and take the hit but that ball was out right away. Touchdown. It's like I was really impressed with Damon in this game. Just his ability to get out of pressure and evade so many sacks and tackles. He's a really special player. I enjoy watching him, despite the fact that he's wearing purple and gold. I was really impressed on that touchdown. But then it's a frustrating end of the half because just like after the first quarter, you feel like you're dominating this game. You feel like you should be up 17, 20 points, and you're only up 6. And so I know a lot of fans were a little bit frustrated at half, to say the least.
Totally. It's one of those games where it's like, I feel like we've had multiple over the last 3 or 4 years where it feels like we're winning 90% of the snaps, and yet how is this a one-possession game? There were times in the Penn State game where you felt that there were times other games even this season where you're like, man, God, are we losing the small moments? Is it just these little things that aren't clicking in, small little penalties? But yeah, I mean, I was right with there. I was at 13-7. I'm like, my gosh, it feels like we're really owning this game. Dante's playing well, just like we wanted. They've gotten one drive on offense, and here we are. So I think for me, you're going into half just being like, man, if we can, once again, we just got to get back up to that 2-score opportunity all game.
And they did a decent job out of halftime, and they ran down. They got the 11-play drive, got a field goal. This, correct me if I'm wrong, this is the drive where Sadiq had that another drop on the, not another drop. The first one wasn't really on him. It was an overthrow. But the drop down the left sideline, I believe that was this drive, and then they had to end up settling for a field goal after a hold from Poncho on a nice run.
Yeah.
Or was that a different drive? I know that he had a back-breaking drop at some point.
Yeah, no, you're right. Yeah, because we had, I think we were 1st and 10 at the Washington 23, then 2nd and 7 at Washington 20, and that was the Dier run for 11 where there was the hold on Poncho.
2nd 17, incomplete pass to Sadiq.
Yeah. So that situation,
he had it. He just dropped it. Like, that was tough.
Yeah, and that's been the common thread is like, gosh, I feel like our offensive penalties are just constantly. There's not a whole ton of them at this stage. They're just really at the worst time.
Just backbreakers.
Yeah, I mean, a 2nd and 7 when you're about to be 1st and 10 at the 11, and now you're in 2nd and 17. That's just a tough spot. And Moore once again hits Sadiq in the hands. Kenya's going to come up with that ball more times than not. But I mean, in that drive specifically, you go into it saying, okay, we're up 6. We really need 3 here at a minimum. We just want to get back to 2 scores. So given where Sappington's been, total credit to him. I think all of us are ready to eat our Sappington crow from forever and for forever. But, yeah, I mean, ultimately you want 3 there, but it's once again one of those situations where you feel like if you can just get up into the 20s, finally, Washington can't get there.
Yeah, and then this next drive, I mean, I feel like we're skipping over the defense a lot in this game. They deserve all of their credit, but they just forced a lot of punts. Like, they did their job. They got off the field. So just because we're skipping over them does not mean that they need to be skipped over. Like, this should be go without saying. this next drive was very important. Just, I think, for the mental health of Duck fans. Like, you're up 16-7. You get the start with a 41-yarder to J-Mac. Then you go down, and you got the penalty. Yeah, what was the... Oh, no, that was that penalty on...
I think it was
Washington?
a false start. I think we had another killer Pregnon false start?
It was someone false start. I forget what it was.
Yeah, second and 9 at
yeah.
the Washington 35 Pregnon, yeah.
So basically it stalls out, and then they trot Sappington out there for 51 yards. And it's like, all right, man, you're kind of testing fate here. Like, you've got 3 field goals from Sappington so far. You feel good. Going into the wind, into the lake, 51 yards, like, that would be a career high. And, I know I'm not the only one that was like, all right, last time we were at Husky Stadium, field goals didn't go well. Oregon has a noted long history with field goals, and we're going to do this again. He knocks it through. I swear that ball hung in the air for 10 seconds. It was just so long waiting for it to go through. And then when that went through, I was like, okay, like, why can't this year be different? Like, why do the demons of Husky Stadium past have to show up today? Like, I had a lot of confidence at this point.
I think me and you probably had like the same view on that, because I think we were pretty much across from the press box up in that Duck section. And I mean, that ball was just hanging. You could tell, like, that thing is dying quickly. It's like he had about a yard there. So, I mean, credit. And Dan had confidence in that, because we got to third and 8 there. And like, we set up to kick. Like, we just got a few yards that we could, because we needed to kick. We were on the 40, got a 6-yard gain, which allowed us to do that. So, I mean, there was obviously a lot of confidence in Sappington. Dan said it after the game. Once again, another situation where you're like, man, when you're up 9, you hate to kick, because you're like, gosh, I mean,
it doesn't do much. Yeah,
it literally does nothing. You're like, okay, well, they're gonna have to score twice now. But once again, just like little penalties there. But yeah, man, the idea that we'd have a kicker that would make a 51-yarder on the road, after what he did at Iowa, it's definitely been a little cathartic, I suppose.
Totally. I wrote about this last night. Like, that's one of my takeaways. Like, Oregon's offense is dangerous already. And then when you add the fact that they actually have a field goal kicker that they have confidence in to hit 40-plus yarders. Like, I wouldn't even say confident in 50-yarders, because we're always going to be a little hesitant on those. But that just changes everything. And I think it kind of opens up I don't know if it opens up the play calling, but it just allows you a little bit more freedom, knowing that you don't have to score touchdowns. You can have a few drives that end in 3 points and still be fine. So, credit to Sappington. He had a fantastic game. Once again, Oregon forces a punt. They punt after that, a 3-play, quick 3-and-out drive, which is frustrating. And then Washington kind of makes everyone pucker up a little bit and has the 13-play, 69-yard drive for a touchdown. Makes it 19-14. And it's like, okay, here we go. This is a little bit scary.
Yeah, and the frustrating part about that Oregon drive is we get the ball back, up 12, all the momentum in the world. We run for 9 yards on first down, and the penalty we all knew was coming all year from Alex Harkey. I mean, he is a great run blocker, but he loves to pile an opponent into the ground. I'm surprised he hasn't got more 15-yard penalties. Yeah. And from watching him, honestly, after the Montana State game, I was thinking in my head, like, this guy is going to get a 15-yarder multiple times this year. I just hope it's not an important spot. Unfortunately for this game, it was a huge spot, because Dier runs for 9 yards on first down, 2nd and 1, and then you go back 15 to 2nd and 16. I mean, the worst time for an after-the-play 15-yarder, just inexcusable. It just can't happen. And it just kills the drive. I mean, the drive's dead immediately in that situation, deep in their territory. And I mean, the last thing you can do in that situation is give a team momentum who's dead. And that was just unfortunate. And like you said, I mean, they drive down, a couple 4th down conversions. We just couldn't quite get off the field. And then they had one receiver wide open all night. It just so happens to be on the biggest play of the game to that point.
Yeah, he was wide open. I saw him kind of motion on that play, and there was some communication between Kennedy and Betcher on who had him. And I remember thinking, I was like, okay, I don't love how they're set up here. And then he kind of rolls out or goes over the middle, and Kennedy is giving him a little bit too much cushion and can't close fast enough. And it's like, all right, he's open.
I'm not sure if it was Kennedy or Theron who was on him.
Oh, I think
but
it
they
was
got
Theron.
picked.
You're right.
They got picked.
Theron.
It was like a double crosser, and whoever was on him man to man got rubbed off basically by a crosser. But you could tell there was some confusion there because after the play there was a lot of, so I don't know if it was supposed to be zone on the back end or they were supposed to pass it off, but somehow, I mean, for your best receiver to not have anyone within 10 yards of him on the play of the game is a little bit frustrating.
And so then you've got Oregon ball. How much time is left at this point? Oregon ball up 19-14, 13 minutes left. And they did go down. Sorry, I'm reading the drive chart wrong.
9 minutes.
Yeah, 8:54 left when that touchdown was scored. So Oregon ball, 19-14, 9 minutes left in the game. We're not the only people to bring this up. This is going to go down as one of the plays in recent memory for this rivalry, this Malik Benson touchdown. What was it like from your vantage point? Because I was lucky enough to see this one from the field.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to think about where that ranks. I mean, what's crazy is it's right up there this season with the Dante to Malik at Iowa, which was equally as significant. Yeah, I mean, it didn't look like an amazing throw. It looked like Malik had to really go up and snag the ball. I was like, damn, crazy catch. But then it looks like, all right, he's down at the 40. Because
like,
he's just surrounded by
That's what you need.
6 guys. And then I had a very similar angle as to his punt return last week where it's like, all right, down at the 40. And then he just blows away guys the speed from a guy that size is crazy.
Yeah, we were able to go down on the field with like 8 minutes left in the game. And so we were just getting down there. We were walking down after Washington's touchdown. So I missed the first 2 plays of this drive. We get set up on the field, that side of the field, with 3rd and 9. And I'm like, oh, crap. Like, all right, come on. Let's see what they do. Didn't look good. I saw, like, from my vantage point, the throw looked high, too. And then you just see Malik go, and he burst through that. It's like he shot out of a cannon. He just went through that, weaved through the guys. We've talked about him kind of being the Troy Franklin of this team before, just like that build, long, skinny, fast, nice catch radius. He looks so much like Troy to me on that play. Like, he is just so quick, so slender. It was crazy impressive. The breaking the W over his knee, that was awesome. Just incredible play.
It reminded me of the Troy long touchdown against USC in 2023, where he just caught the ball over the middle and just killed like 7 angles. Gone. It was just not even close. Yeah. I mean, the ability to go up and snag a ball like that and then still to just be able to go 0 to 100 that quickly. He has been everything and more than you could ever want. I mean, he's played an integral role in our 3 biggest wins down the stretch. I don't want to even imagine where we would be at this point in the season without him. It's been really, really special for him, I know. I mean, he had a rough time at Alabama, a rough time at Florida State. All credit to him. I think he's one of those guys that's like, people love to hate on the portal and say that it's ruined college football, and there are certainly some things about it that I don't love, but for a guy like that to be able to make a career out of himself, and he's been in 2 tough situations with quarterbacks that probably weren't the best guys for him, and he gets to come here, and he's gonna be in the NFL.
He's got an NFL future,
for
absolutely.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yep.
No, he is a picture-perfect example of what's good about the portal. It's like giving these guys one last chance to succeed. And the shout out to Diego Pavia and that ruling that gave him 1 more year of eligibility. It's like, he's doing it, the right way in this new era of college football where he's taking that last chance and running with it. So Oregon goes up 26-14. At this point, there's 7 minutes left, 8 minutes left.
Yeah.
You feel pretty good. With where this defense was, I didn't think Washington would be able to score twice. You've got a good lead. I trusted both Oregon's offense and defense to be able to run this thing out, get out of there with the win. You turn over Washington on downs with 4 and out real quick. It was hilarious to see them think they had the first down, celebrate, do the too small celebration, and then it's like, oh no, you're actually down short. And upon review, still a 4th down or still a turnover on downs.
Yeah, that swing, I mean, on the Malik touchdown, I was trying to think back to plays that have gone from, I mean, I'm 3rd and 9, like, are we really about to lose to Washington?
Yeah.
To, like, holy cow, this game is probably over. I was trying to go back at, like, moments like that swing not only a game, but an outcome that affects so much over the last few years. I mean, obviously the Benson catch against Iowa was a big one, but I mean, you still are in a position, and not like this would have ended the game, but just the swing of emotion, I think, in a play like that. And then you stop them on downs there and run the ball down. I know Dan wanted that kill shot, and I probably wish we had kicked, but
do you? I was totally fine with going for it there. I in hindsight, I wish they were a perfect 3 for 3 on 4th down, just for the narratives of going in there and being perfect once again. But I was fine with what are you gaining by being up 29? It's like the going up 12 or up 12 when you're up 9. What's the benefit of going up 29 to 14 instead of 26 to 14?
My only thought was, if you go up 29-14, there is zero world in which you can lose this game in regulation. You're up 15. They would have to score 2-point versus 12. They somehow hit a big play, whatever, they recover an onside. Now they can win the game. And I'm just thinking, like, let's just be sure we cannot lose. That was just my thought. I don't know. I'm not ever here to question Will Stein. The play call was certainly an interesting one.
Didn't work.
But, yeah. It was, I mean, I haven't seen the replay yet, but it seemed like he almost fumbled the ball.
Oh, it was close. I was watching from a good vantage point. It was lucky that was not fumbled and returned for a touchdown.
Yeah, that would have been really lovely.
Awful.
No, it was credit to all the Washington fans who left the stadium with 7 minutes to go. Nice job, everyone.
As always.
Believing in your team. And it was, I mean, I don't know how it sounded from the press box or down on the field, but there was a lot of Duck fans there. And it was pretty loud up where we were, and there was a lot of chants that felt like they were kind of booming throughout the stadium a little bit.
I was making note of that during the game. Like, it was loud for Washington on offense. Like, Oregon fans were making that loud. Like, I don't think it was like where they had to go with a silent count on offense, but it was like, okay, there's actual real noise on this 3rd down for DeMond. And then I was making note with the other guys up the press box, like, sometimes it was hard to figure out, like, what happened on some plays, like an incomplete or a big completion to J-Mac. There's like a crowd pop, and it's like, did he catch that, or was it incomplete? Like, why are people celebrating? Because we're far away, I can't see it perfectly. And it's like, oh, he caught that, and there's a huge roar from the crowd. It's like, are we in Seattle or are we in Eugene right now? So yeah, credit to Oregon fans. They traveled really well. They kind of took over Husky Stadium by the end of the game. It was awesome to see.
Well, you mentioned J-Mac. How is that not a catch?
Oh my God, yeah. How did we not talk about
that? That is,
I mean,
like,
okay. Yeah.
Is that a better, if that's ruled a catch, which if it had just been ruled a catch on the field, it would have been a catch. Is that better than OBJ? I mean, is that like the best I've ever seen in my life?
It's a mix of OBJ and David Tyree. I know that David Tyree was in the Super Bowl, obviously, so that, like, takes the cake, but man, yeah, if it had been a rule to catch, that's one of the, I mean, easily the greatest catch I've ever seen. I think it still is the greatest catch I've ever seen. I do understand how they ruled it not a catch. You could see, like, the ball move slightly, I think, maybe, when it hits the ground and on his helmet, but I don't know. That was spectacular.
Yeah. It's too bad that the two coolest catches of the last 2 years were not catches. Because I think about the Stewart one at Michigan last year on the ineligible man downfield. That was awesome. And then this, so we have a nice little bank of almost building up.
So what's the greatest catch in Oregon history? Is it still back? Was it Keenan Lowe with the toe touch versus Oregon State? You remember that one where he's like horizontal out of bounds? There's that picture of him. I don't know what the greatest.
Braylon had a hell of a one at ASU in that Vernon Adams crazy triple OT game in the back of the end zone. Braylon had one.
I remember that. I'm trying to think if it was Keenan Lowe.
I mean, J-Max that counted. What was that? Last week or two? Was that last week against SC in the corner? That was a heck of a catch.
That was a really nice catch.
I don't know. But this was one where that's not even like Oregon history. People are talking about that one like football in general, if that thing was ruled a catch.
Sorry, this is bad podcasting. I'm trying to find the picture of that catch. I'm not able to. Oregon Ducks toe tap catch now comes up with J-Mac, so credit to him. He's stolen that term. Yeah, instant takeaways from this game. I mean, there's a million we've already talked about. Benson, I think, was obviously incredible. One of his best games as a Duck. Dante Moore, I don't think his stats, his stats were great. 20 of 29, 286 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 rushing touchdown, no picks. I thought he was just really poised, and as always, he has been every game outside of the Indiana game, but really accurate and just delivered some really nice passes. There were a couple drops in there, one overthrow to Kenyon, which should have been a touchdown, but I was just once again really impressed with him.
Yeah, totally. Missed a couple, missed a Dier first down early in the game, missed that one to Kenyon. I think one other Kenyon a little behind him to where he could have been there's a world where he's easily 25 for 29 somewhere up there. But just to be down the guys we were with them taking away Sadiq for the most part, J-Mac, Jamari Johnson. Talk about a guy.
On my list too.
It's a pretty nice situation when you lose your top 3 receivers to have not only the best tight end in the country, but easily the best second tight end in the country. There is no team who has near Jamari Johnson as their second guy.
Does he have 2 years left or 1 year left after this year?
Isn't he a redshirt sophomore?
I think he's got 2 years left, yeah.
Yeah. But I don't want to get ahead of myself, but if you were to tell me right now that he'd be the first tight end taken after next year, that would not surprise me at all.
Can you imagine if Oregon has first-round tight ends in back-to-back years with him and Kenyon? Yeah, him being the starter next year is going to be fun. I can't wait to see him in a bigger role because he's just a very dynamic pass catcher and a nice big-bodied receiver.
Yeah, and I think when it comes to the, I know there was some discussion and other things just about, obviously, our lack of ability to run the ball. I think me and you discussed that and kind of why that was, and also our ability to not stop the run as well as I probably expected. I think, once again, that's a thing that Duck fans just watch the replay. We had 4 guys in the box. We were allowing them to do that. That's the game plan going in. Just like we talked about what the game plan was against USC last week, you're going to give up some stuff. The plan here was we're going to allow some efficiency run. We don't think they can go down the field and do that. And as you saw, Jed had no discipline to continue to do that. He wanted to get cute and start passing the ball and different things. And that's when we get a couple turnovers, make some plays on defense. DBs and safeties play well. This was the perfect game for put Dylan Thieneman in the middle of the field. I thought the linebackers played well for the most part, but we were fine giving up 5-6 yards on the run. And we didn't trust their ability to do that all game. So, it's just important to understand the context when you look at the stats, and I think that's just an important nuance. Just take a screenshot of the Washington box when we were on offense and our box when they were on offense. There's literally a difference between 3 guys on average each play.
Yeah, that was crazy. One last note I had, we're playing the hits right now, but Nasir Wyatt, just so fun, so good to get that sack on the first drive, second play of the game, I think.
Second drive.
Was it the second drive?
Tuioti got the one on the first drive.
That was Tuioti, the first one.
No, this was the first play of the second drive.
First play of the second drive.
Yep.
I can't wait to watch this kid flourish and turn into more of an every down player, but still just an elite pass rusher. Even if he doesn't become an every down player, he knows what he's good at, and he's really good at it already. And to see him get better is going to be a lot of fun. Do you have anything else on this game before we move on to some other things?
No, we go into November, and I remember talking with you about how good is this team, and we're going to find out. And I think the answer is we didn't know at that time that we were going to be down Sadiq for a big game, more Bryant. And we were questioning it at that point, and I think it just says a hell of a lot about the program, everything, especially the offense and what Stein has done given the injuries to win those 4 games.
Well, what's crazy is I don't think we still know how good this team is. When they are fully healthy, I think they can easily be the best team in the nation. I really do. Like, what we've seen with them not fully healthy has been impressive. We know how good they can be not fully healthy. If you get those guys back, mainly offensively, because fortunately, knock on wood, the defense has stayed healthy throughout the year and they've been really good. If you get some of those pass catchers back, you get your offensive line. Luckily, they were back this game, but I don't think fully healthy. Man, the ceiling is just so high for this team because Will Stein is calling games as well as he has at Oregon so far. Tosh Lupoi is coaching as well as he has at Oregon before. I know I want to talk about him in a second, but I feel really good that, Dan has always said this team needs to be peaking at the right time, playing its best ball at the end of November. I think they're doing that, and they still have another level to go because you can get some of these guys back.
Totally. I mean, depending on how seeding shakes out, hopefully we've got basically a tune-up game in a couple of weeks. And so if I'm looking down the line at, January 1st or December 31st, whatever night that is, I mean, you'd think Poncho and Harkey and World are back to somewhat 100%. I mean, those guys were. If you were down in the field and saw the wraps on those ankles, I mean, those guys were not moving too well. And credit to them for gutting it out. But so they're all back. I feel confident in saying Bryant's back by the first. I feel pretty confident Moore's back by the first. So. I don't know about Stewart. I don't think that's that relevant to the conversation. We'll see what happens with that. But, yeah, I mean, talk about a fully loaded roster. I mean, you can't play us like Washington did yesterday if those guys are back. The only reason they can play that is because, we've got still some question marks and lack of bodies out there. So, we haven't seen this offense fully loaded, I would say, all year because I think the injuries to these guys has opened up some other stuff that has been really advantageous for us. So, I mean, you heard Malik Benson talk about it after the game yesterday. I think this is a team come, I don't know, January 1st that not a lot of programs out there are going to want to face.
I agree. I just got a tweet notification that Michigan State is firing Jonathan Smith. Interesting. I'm not totally surprised, but I didn't know they were going to part ways with him. Before we talk CFP...
Is he going to UCLA?
I don't know. That'd be interesting. But I think UCLA might take... who is that?
Chesney, who would be a good hire for them.
To be a good hire.
I'm
He's
interested.
What, JMU?
Yeah.
No, yeah, Chesney.
It's going to be this Penn State, I mean, these Big Ten jobs, Penn State, UCLA, now Michigan State will be interesting. Is Michigan State going to hire Brian Kelly?
Oh my God, that'd be... Michigan State fans don't deserve that. I don't think he would do well at Michigan State. I don't think he'd do well anywhere, but I just don't think I don't know.
I feel like that's the type of job he does well. I mean, I don't know. I
just don't like Brian Kelly.
Can they do better? I don't either, but can they do better than him?
Probably not.
No, who were they hiring?
They should be excited about that, actually. It should be mentioned that Jed Fish, our guy, did not get the Florida job, which I was surprised by. Went to John Sumrall, which I think great hire for them. If I were a Florida fan, I would rather have Sumrall than Fish. As Oregon fans, are we upset about that, or is it kind of like, oh, nice, Jed Fish is still in the Big Ten. We still get to coach against this guy. It's a little bit of both.
Yeah, I mean, he just doesn't scare you. I mean, oh my God, I watched his press conference after the game yesterday, and
I have not done that yet.
Dying laughing. I mean, he looked just dejected. I mean, you've got to watch. But when you have a beat Oregon sign in your office and then it doesn't work out, I can see why you'd be sad. I mean, why hire Jed for $2 million when you can pay $8 million for a G5 head coach?
That's true.
But he doesn't scare. I mean, it just would have been funny to see Washington have to rebuild their whole roster again, which is what happens now when you lose a coach. I don't know what will happen with UCLA. I'm sure Jed will try to throw his name in the ring there. But I think Chesney would be a great hire for UCLA if that actually fires through. I think he's going to be good wherever he goes. I think he's got some Signetti in him, just in terms of like always been a winner, kind of DeBoer level too. Like those, I feel like those guys who work their way up and have just always won have the highest hit rate at like Power 4 jobs.
Apparently, former Northwestern coach Pat Fitzgerald is a quote-unquote name to know for the Michigan State job. So the guy that got fired for
I can see that.
Whatever he did, I forget, but coaching kids too hard, I think. Now that we are at the end of the regular season, it is potentially time that we hear more stuff about Will Stein, Tosh the Poi. I think Tosh is the name more to watch. I will say that I would not be surprised if within the next week or 10 days something comes out about him and Cal. I don't know for sure that he is going to take that job or that they're going to hire them. I think that they want him. It's just about whether or not he wants to go there. If he does take that job, I think he would stay on for the rest of the season, coach through the playoffs, and finish the season with Oregon. I just would not be at all surprised if he is the next head coach at Cal, which would be awesome for him. That's a great job for him, great step in his career. Oregon would be fine with Chris Hampton as the defensive coordinator. I think Dan Lanning has done a great job of setting up his coaching staff offensively and defensively to prepare for coaching movement and upward mobility. So something to watch. I don't know if it's, something's in the works for the next day or two or 7 days down the road. But that's just something I've got my eye on.
Yeah, I was going to say, I not only would not be surprised, like you said, if that was something in the next 7 to 10 days, I wouldn't be surprised if it was in the next hour. And that's not intel. That's just like, totally. It just seems to make a lot of sense for all parties. So I think that's one where if you're Dan, and he's already kind of came out in effect and stumped for him, but you're happy for your guy and go out and get your job, and you've got a guy that you've fought off multiple P4 offers for in Hampton to keep him in-house, and you feel good about that. I don't know if you bring in another position coach. I don't know what the trickle-down effect is, like we talked about last week, in terms of who Tosh takes with him. I think that would be almost my bigger concern.
That's what's scary, yeah.
Yeah, so I think we'll see. The Duck fans just need to remember, there's two things at play here. There's signing day, which I think we're fine. That's why we recruit as a staff, like we talked about. And then two, every single time we've lost a coach, we've, if anything, kept even or upgraded.
Yep.
So Dan is going to bring in a great guy, and just like Saban at Bama and Kirby at Georgia, as long as the top dog is there, the operation is going to keep running.
Yeah, what worries me is about that, who he could potentially take with him. I don't know if Dan would have an agreement with him that you can't take Tuioti, you can't take Well, I don't know about Michalowski, but some of these guys, if you're gonna leave, fine, but don't gut our staff like Kiffin is doing to Ole Miss right now. So that would be. I'm so glad that story is almost over. It appears, but God, what a shit show there. Yeah, that's like I said. There may or may not be a story prepared on Duckswire right now about Tosh leaving. It could happen, at some point soon. Who knows?
And I think with Stein, we may be in the clear here. I would watch Kentucky.
Yeah,
and see what they do with Stoops.
Who would wait for another year.
Yeah. So I've said all along I think we're going to keep him another year, but I think if Kentucky gets rid of Stoops, which they would owe him a ton of money within 30 days, I think. So I think there's some complications there. I think they would go after Will. He's from there. Obviously went to Louisville, from there. But I'm not sure he takes that. I actually would lean that he wouldn't. Yeah. That's just a hard job. You're just going. It was the same reason people who said him for Arkansas. I'm like, you want to go up? Just sign up and be the 14th best program in the SEC. That's a tough place to win, man.
Well, I also saw that Rashad Samples was thrown his name out, or did not throw his name out. His name was thrown out for the North Texas job. It would make sense. He's from around that area, but he is another person who it's okay, wait for a year or two, take over as OC at Oregon, then you get that SEC job. You don't have to it feels safer to take that route rather than going the G5, G6 route.
And I think he'll be one where I think him and Dan will be having conversations about talking through, is he actually going to be the next OC when Will leaves? Because you're right. If him and Dan, and they'll know this, and they probably know this now. Like, if Samples has an idea that he will be like the OC when Stein leaves, he's not taking the North Texas job. But if that's not the case, and Dan's going to go out and hire the best guy, which Dan's always done, and I could see that also happening, then, and if Samples wants to be a head coach, I mean, that's a great spot for him. I mean, North Texas is a good program. You can see it this year
Totally.
back home. So I think whether or not he takes that job or is very involved in it will kind of give us the answer as to the first question.
This is with no inside intel. I don't know for sure. I would be very surprised if he was not the OC after Will leaves. He is that guy. He's got that offensive mindset. I think that he is a rising star in this industry. Dan has said it a million times before. It goes without saying. I think he'd be that guy. I'd be surprised if they went with an outside hire. But we'll see. We'll see. That all obviously may not come to fruition until next year. I agree. I think that Will Stein stays put for another year. Let's talk about the college football playoff. We mentioned a little bit earlier, Oregon, it feels likely to get a 5 or a 6 seed at worst. I can't imagine they drop to 7.
I can.
Can you really?
If here's a scenario. I mean,
Please.
well, all we're watching is us versus A&M this week. If we're ahead of A&M this week, we're totally locked into 5 or 6. So as long as we are ahead of them, we're good. The scenario that worries you is if they keep A&M ahead of us, so we're 6. I know Jeff disagreed, but I just completely disagree. I think Bama, if they win, is jumping to a top 4, 1,000%.
Yeah.
They're going to put the SEC winner with all those wins in the top 4, and that knocks us down a notch, and that puts us 7-10. Probably Notre Dame coming to Autzen, Oklahoma coming to Autzen, a game I do not want to happen. So the biggest thing, really the only thing we are watching this week, Ole Miss is not going to jump us. They had a crappier win than we did and just lost their coach. So it's just us versus Texas A&M. And we should be ahead of them. They have 1 win. It was in the second week of the season. They've looked terrible for a month straight. But it really matters a lot.
So what if, I'm pulling up the rankings right now, what if BYU beats Tech, though? Would that help quite a bit in the standings? Because Tech would drop out. I don't think BYU would jump us. We might jump Tech, though. Does Tech have 1 loss right now? They do, don't they?
The problem is Tech has 1 loss going into this, so the committee tries to not penalize teams that played. So, like, if Texas Tech lose close to BYU, would they drop us? I mean, maybe. I just don't think that's going to happen. So, there's a lot of advantageous scenarios for us if we can just hold into that top 6 where we get a really nice path. We just, I don't know. I'm just worried in my gut that they're gonna do some funny business with Texas A&M. So I mean, it matters a lot. We just got to watch it Tuesday.
So right now, the teams most likely that Oregon would potentially face in that first round game: North Texas, Tulane, maybe UNLV or Boise State. I think those are the 2 playing for the Mountain West, right?
Yes.
Yeah, because New Mexico State got knocked out because of the tiebreaker. Maybe Virginia. Those are your potential like conference champions that you would be playing from the ACC or the Big 12, or the Group of 5, I mean. And then it could be, if you drop to that 7 seed, a lower seeded at-large like Oklahoma, Notre Dame, Alabama, maybe BYU, maybe Miami if they get tricky and kind of get them up there somehow. But those are the potential names. Do you have any others that you think could potentially be in that group?
So if you can hold at 5 or 6, you're looking at, the interesting scenario is if Duke beats Virginia.
Yeah, then the ACC's
then there's
out.
there's a real scenario where it's like JMU.
It's true. JMU needs
so
to be on that list.
Yeah, I mean, you're just looking at, it's a big difference. I mean, we've been saying it all along, but playing a 10 versus the 11-12, in any 11-12 matchup, we are a minimum 17-point fave and probably up into the 20s. Versus the 7-10, you're like 5, like low. Like it's a real game. You got to fight on your hands. So, it's just someone's going to... Us or A&M is going to get... one of us is going to be in a great spot. The others... that's saying Bama's going to beat Georgia. Even if we're behind A&M, and Georgia beats Bama, then we're fine. We're still at 6, which is what we wanted to be all along. I just don't want to go into Saturday needing a Georgia win over Bama. DeBoer has like voodoo over Kirby and Lanning. I don't know what it is, but rooting against that guy has never worked out for me, and I don't want to have to do it again.
So if Georgia beats Bama, we should be good regardless, for the most part.
Correct.
Right?
Correct. Definitely good. Yeah. Okay. Because then, even if A&M's ahead of us, then we're 6, which I still would rather be 6 than 5. If you want to go into Saturday in your zen with no stress, knowing you're locked in as a top 6, you want us to be ahead of A&M on Tuesday.
Why would you rather be 6 than 5? Can you explain that to me?
Ohio State won.
Okay.
I'd rather just have to play them last.
Because if you were the 6th seed, I'm pulling up the bracket right now.
So the 6, my thought would be...
Would play when they go to the 3 then, if they win?
My thought would be if Georgia wins the SEC, Ohio State's 1, Georgia's 2. That way we would play Indiana as the 3 or Texas Tech as the 3.
Okay, but if you're the 5, then you potentially play that 1 in the quarterfinal. Or quarterfinal.
Semi. You'd play the 4 or 5 as the quarter.
Right, correct. Yep, semi.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. So yeah, you'd rather be the okay.
But I mean, you just don't know. I mean, there's
there's so many.
I spend too many hours. Totally, I spend so many hours on this, and like the most ideal scenario in the world out there has us. We could get up to the 5, and there's a world which we don't play Georgia or Ohio State. I mean, there's all these machinations, but I just think once again, like if we can just be 5 this week, we're in a great spot.
Yeah. Yeah, all right, I like that. Anything else you want to hit on today? I know we're going to come back. We plan to come back, I think, on Wednesday night, which National Signing or Early Signing Day, Early Signing Period, whatever you want to call it now. Basically, National Signing Day is on Wednesday. Yep. So we're going to come back Wednesday night and talk about that, and then also recap the college football playoff rankings that come out on Tuesday. Is there anything else you want to hit on before we get to that? We may have, a lot more news with coaching carousel. It's obviously too early for transfer portal, but there could be some big flips over the next couple of days, so it's something to watch.
Yeah, I think we just come back Wednesday. I think the coaching dust will be settled. Playoff, I think we'll have a really good idea of where things shake out playoff-wise and know who to root for the weekend. Talk some signing day stuff. I think this will be a little quieter of a signing day than we've had in the last couple of years. It's going to be hard to match what we've had, but I also think I just can't ever imagine Dan being a guy that's going to like go on a national signing day and flip nobody. So I think we'll find a way to make it fun.
I think so. And this class did a lot of its heavy lifting in July. Like this class is already set up and so successful or so talented. If you have, we'll try and take like several, questions from listeners and stuff on Wednesday night. So if you have some and are listening to this right now, make sure to get those in the Ducks Lounge chat on Lockerverse, or email them to us or DM them to us. Get us to them somehow. Get them to us somehow, I should say. We'll answer those on Wednesday night. But other than that, it should be a fun show. I personally love signing day. I think it's one of the most exhausting days in my world, up from 3 a.m. to late at night, just because there's always news and people signing. So but it's one of the fun days. You gotta love this job if you're gonna be any good at it.
100%. I mean, there's always some good I think when you combine it with this time of year with the carousel and the chaos of the day and the moms not letting their kids sign with one place and letters getting faxed in and then not being
broken
signed, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Just that it's just like the epitome of college football in every way, of the craziness and of all the chaos. So it'll be a fun day. We'll come back Wednesday, and man, it's a hell of a season.
Absolutely. It's not over yet. We still got maybe 4 more games left?
I'd love it.
Could be 4 or 5 more. Yeah.
See you in Miami.
That's great. Oh boy. All right, check us out on YouTube. Find the Ducks Rising podcast on Apple or Spotify, and if you'd be so kind, give us a rating and review. Most importantly, go over to Lockerverse and check out Ducks Rising. Subscribe now and support the program. Let's rise together. We'll see you in a few days.